So the first thing you have to do is make sure your part is clean. If it's not clean, and when you go to weld it, it's a whole lot harder if it has grease on it or dirt. So this basically takes it back to its original finish. I clean the joint. This is very similar to when you break your leg and they reconnect it. You can see it's clean. You can see the brightness in the metal, and I've taken most of the dirt off it. This is the other part. So the key to this is to cleaning it so that we can reconnect the two parts. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little piece that must have broken off, and that's created a gap. This left piece here is almost perfect to what it originally was, but the right one has a piece missing that must have fallen off. And that's actually good in some ways, because we're going to use that to fill with the brass. Gas on first. Then I increase the oxygen. Now I don't need a lot of heat on this. This is steel, so it'll take a little more heat than a thinner material might. But it's not going to take that much to fix. So I heat the rod. This could be done with steel or with brass. I like brass because it's a low temperature and it adheres quickly and it's extremely strong. So if you can see that, I'm going to take the torch, burn off any imperfections, and try to get both pieces heated to the same temperature. And I do that by color. You just get used to looking at the color of the pieces. Now typically with steel, you might take your torch and tack it. And that way you'll see the little sparkles. It's like on a 4th of July, and that tacks it. And then that way, it's, in theory, it shouldn't move. Of course, it always does, but. So I go in, and I take the brass, and I move it around in a circle so it goes in the joint. This is a little bit built up. Now I'm going to heat this side back to liquid and push in the right side a little more. It's spread a little bit, so this is how we get it to kiss back. Won't be perfect. Now by flooding it, it will go into the seam and fill in the gap between the two pieces. I go over each piece and float it around in a circular motion, and that should draw the bronze and the brass down into the crease, if it's hot enough. The first thing you need to learn in welding and repairing, these are your hands. And you have to use these because it gets awful hot if you pick up a part. Sometimes in the beginning you have a tendency to want to pick a part up without your gloves. You only do that once. And you won't do that again. So by checking the other side, I can see that there's still a little gap that was not filled. So I'm going to hold this and fill that little gap. And the last thing I like to do is I check the ends just to make sure that the gap is filled, because you don't want to have any weakness in the joint. This is like a leg repair. You want it to be as strong, if not stronger, than it was prior to the break. And that means this should withstand any torture you could give it. But I'm going to make sure on the ends, and I'm going to actually flood it so it's even a little bigger and beefier, if that's a word, than it was. Gas first. Now the cracks are gone. And on some projects where cosmetics are important, you can actually put it back on the wheel and put a stone on it and grind it completely flat, and you'll see just a hairline of where the brass went into the steel. And this is how cars are made. They attach the roof to the side of the car, and it's called buttering. You butter the joint. They use solder, but on Rolls-Royce and Bentleys, they use brass because it has tremendous strength. So when they're done, there's actually a line that's almost like a hair. That's all you see. And they'll butter over that, prime it, and then paint it. And you have no idea where the seam was from the beginning. And this was broken. So this could be used now once it's cleaned up. And you probably want to paint it and get the rest of the crud off it. So that's a pretty simple repair.